Willie D Live.
But let's talk about investing. One of your favorite topics.
Yes.
Let's say I got $1,000 and I need to do something with this money. How do I turn $1,000 into passive income?
Well, the best way to do it, if I was 18 years old again, and I had $1,000, going to college was nice and the education all that was cool. But I did education because I wanted to make money. That was the only way I knew. Only way I knew to make money was to go to school, make good grades, and get a good job. That was the only play I knew. But if I was 18 again, I don't know if I'd go to college or not, but I definitely would have spent all my time learning how to be the best entrepreneur I could possibly be. For two reasons. One, that would maximize my probability of one day doing something that elevates my income substantially, right? You just got to come up with one idea that works. You ain't got to have 1,000 of them, right? And then two, because I'm a black man, right? And as a black man, I don't think these Americanized systems are designed for you to have the same opportunities that you would get if you were white. And I think it's a myth and a lie and it's complete bullshit that we've been taught as black men that somehow I can go work in a white man's business and he's going to treat me as if I'm a white man. Ain't no other ethnic group. There's no ethnic group on the planet that believes that you can work with another group and have them treat you the same as if you're part of that group. There's no Chinese man on earth that thinks I can go work for an Arab and be treated as if I'm an Arab. Because he's like, no, I'm Chinese, I'm Asian, you're Arab. We can help each other, but ownership does make a difference. I think black people, again, going back to public school, the brainwashing that occurs in public school, we just fed this myth, civil rights movement, civil rights, this and equality, all this other bullshit, and it doesn't work. And then when it doesn't work, we get pissed off. You know, that's when we get online. All these white people, they treat us bad. Look at how they treat the black man versus the white man. All that's true. And when I learned to accept that shit that they don't love you, that's when I realized, okay, I get it. If I want to be a king, I got to learn how to build a castle. Because I don't think another man is going to bring you into his castle and make you the king. That's not realistic. You know, like if you move, you and I are great friends, right? If I say, hey, Willie, man, hey, I need a place to stay. And you're staying there with your family. And you say, okay, boy, sure, you can stay with me since, you're having a tough time, right? And I say, oh, by the way, man, I want to use the master bedroom. Can you sleep? I'm in the basement. It's comfortable. Can you stay in the basement? I'm sleep in the master bedroom. Is that okay? What are you going to say?
Hey, man, can somebody go find Boyce? Because I got an intruder in this motherfucker, and I'm about to pop him up right now.
Exactly, right. So, or if I came in, I'm like, man, I don't like the furniture in here, man. We gotta get rid of this furniture. I ordered some new furniture, and it would be crazy for me to do that, right? Even though we're friends, you would say, no, Boyce, this is not your house. You're welcome here, and you can use the spare bedroom. But you can't, I'm not going to treat you like your son is out there. Your son is your son. I'm not your, I'm your friend, but there's a limitation to that. That's my point, right? You would say at some point, okay, Boyce, you got to go to your own house. Where do you live, right? And I think that as black people, we are trained to be economic orphans. We don't have, we own more businesses 100 years ago than we own now. We own more land 100 years ago than we own now. Something happened in the civil rights movement where they fed us this myth of equality where we traded in land ownership and business ownership for student loans and corporate jobs. And then what happened is we found ourselves in debt traps. We found ourselves stuck on the corporate plantation where you work 30 years at some company, you die at your desk, and then you have nothing to show for it.
What is the number one money trap that people make, that they walk into, that keeps them poor?
There's a few of them. One of them is student loans. Student loans are a massive problem in this country. It's a massive economic virus. They're never going to cure it. So student loan debt is something that keeps a lot of people from. That's what causes a lot of the more educated black people to have a negative net worth when they die. because they never pay the student loans back. Half of all black college graduates default on the student loans. And when you default, that means you're going to have bad credit. That means you're going to be in debt for life. You can't write your student loans off in a bankruptcy. Joe Biden actually helped pass that law about 20 years ago, where they everything else you can write off, student loans you can't. So student loans are a big problem. I think a lack of financial literacy. I think I have a new book. It's called The 10 Commandments of Black Economic Power, and one of the commandments is that economic intelligence should be a rite of passage for your children. That you should train them at an early age on all the different ways to make money. See, a lot of us grow up like I did. I grew up in a household where if you talked about making money, it was get a job. That was it. That was the only move we had. So imagine being a basketball player where you've just got one move. Well, it's easy to play defense on a player that has one move. It's easy to shut that player down. So we get shut down because we got one move. The whole get a job move, or and then the only way to make more money is either get a better job, get a raise on your job, get a promotion on your job, or get a second job. That's the only thing you can do. Whereas the ways people make money, how do people get rich in America? They get rich through three major areas. Stock market participation. Every study on earth shows that people who invest in the stock market regularly have more wealth than people who do not. Real estate ownership. Owning property is the difference between poor and middle class. That's real estate ownership. The third is entrepreneurship. This is the play for the black man, in my opinion. An entrepreneur, I've seen people go from a job making $3,000, $4,000 a month to making literally $100,000 a month because they selling sea moss now, or they figured out that they could sell a hair care product or whatever. One product, literally. So if I'm talking to my kids right now, if I was 18 again, I would meet an amazing black woman, and I would say, let's have about 6 or 7 kids, because the number of kids you have can be part of your wealth if you raise them right? If you raise them to help support the family, take care of the family, right? So I say, let's have 6 or 7 kids. We're going to educate our own kids, so we're going to homeschool our kids, and we're also going to build the family business within that infrastructure. See, people don't realize if you add up the number of hours and the amount of resources that you give away to corporate America when you send your kids to work for other people, it goes up into the millions. Like, think about it. You spend 40 hours a week at your job, over a 50-hour week, or 50 weeks in a year, that's 2,000 hours a year. Over a decade, that's 20,000 hours. If you work 50 years, that's 100,000 hours of labor. If that labor is valued at, say, I don't know, let's say $50 an hour. Well, then 100,000 times 50 is $5 million. So that's $5 million of resources that you've given away to corporations. So you'll have families like that where you have 3 or 4 educated people or skilled people that'll all go and work separate jobs, and they all struggling, right? Student loan debt, paying rent for the rest of their life, owning nothing, right? Whereas if you were able to sort of shift the mindset and say, let's all get together, let's form something together, let's create an economic gang, let's start a family business together, and let's take that expertise and that intelligence and those resources and networks and bring them together to support the family, then guess what? All that's being poured inward, and next thing you know, the family's doing well. And this is, and I know this is real because this is what I see in my own family. My parents don't have to worry about retirement. My father wanted the house paid off. I said, how much is it? We wrote a check for that. My mother's older. She's having some health issues. They don't need the retirement money because they got 3 children who are skilled, who have some resources, who are dedicated to the family. That is their retirement plan. It ain't just Social Security and everything else. So systems are in place and they're fine, but systems were designed to kind of replace the family. The family can do a lot of the things that these fake systems can't do.
Yeah, credit card debt has to be another one of those money traps.
Mm-hmm.
Right? When you think about, let's say somebody has $10,000 in credit card debt and they have a 25% APR. That could keep you in the poorhouse for a long time.
Oh yeah, credit card debt is bad, and that comes to the mindset of where you're in America. You're trained to be a consumer. You're trained to buy, spend, waste. And the reason they need to train you to be a consumer is because people don't know 70% of the economy is driven by consumer spending. And what's crazy is that in America, as wages have gone down, like real wage, if you measure against inflation, wages have gone down. Corporate profits keep going up because that's how they make their money.
The cost of products and services continue to go up.
Right. And so the cost of everything's going up, but your wages are going down or staying flat. Well, how do you support that? Well, you go deeper in debt. So a lot of Americans are in major debt. A lot of it's those high interest credit cards that you talk about, and it's a terrible trap. So yeah, you're right. It's credit cards. So really the way to deal with that, in my opinion, is I think you have to really, again, get off the tracks, get out of the systems. Think about when you're buying something, why you're buying it, and how much you're spending, and just the basic idea of being committed to living below your means. That right there makes all the difference. So financial freedom, a lot of people think that to be financially free, you got to be rich. That's not true. You and I both know a lot of rich people who are economic slaves. Why? Well, because they're spending more than they're bringing in. Mm-hmm. So being financially free is really having the freedom to do what you want without money being the limitation. So a person with an average income can be more financially free than a person with an income 5 times greater than them.